Welcome back everyone, we got a busy week, let's get right into it. First off, Valve banned over 4,000 accounts for abused matchmaking. What that means is still up in the air, but many speculate that the accounts were boosted and sold off to others. Let's move on to the major and minor qualifiers. Let's begin in North America. There's only 2 spots, and we all knew one spot was going to be Evil Geniuses. They finished on top of the group with Chaos Esports, while Business Associate, formerly known as J-Storm, finished first and Fighting Panda finished second in the other group. EG cruised through the playoffs and quickly secured their spot into the Los Angeles Major. The second spot came down to a jostle between Chaos Esports Club and Business Associates, and in the end, Chaos defeated BA 2-0 to punch their ticket to LA. Fighting Pandas and Business Associate will play in the minor qualifiers a little later on. In South America, the shift of power may be happening. Everyone knew Beast Coast is one of the best teams from here, but an open qualifier team called Thunder Predator took the group stage by storm. They nabbed the top spot in the group and they even knocked Beast Coast into the lower bracket 2-0 to win a spot into the major. Beast Coast did get a spot to LA, but it was a wild qualifiers for them. They played in 3 different tiebreakers to make it into the playoffs. Over in the CIS region, they had 2 slots, and even with the whole Virtus.pro and not a sincere feud over players, that didn't stop teams from competing at a high level. Back, Zayak Emilzanov now plays for VP, and Simeon Sima the Slayer Kruvula plays for Navi. Unfortunately, the teams don't play each other at all in the qualifiers. They both placed on top of their respective groups, but VP dropped to a lower bracket in the playoffs, while Navi cruised to a spot at the LA Major. VP did have to make an incredible lower bracket run, but they were formerly one of the best teams in the world. They quickly secured their second trip to the major this season. In Southeast Asia, they were given 3 slots. With the addition of new teams formed, this could be up in the air. Geek Fam surprised everyone and grabbed the top spot, with Fnatic following behind them in Group B. In Group A, Team Adra and Team Isle finished 1 and 2. They have effectively knocked out TNC Predator into the minor qualifiers. Since there's 3 slots, now there's no lower bracket, Fnatic were the first team to get a spot followed by Geek Fam and then Team Adra. Team I will also head to the minor qualifiers. In Europe, this would be the biggest bloodbath we'll ever see. Fans are calling for more spots in this region than any other ones. We have OG, Team Secret, Team Liquid, Alliance, Nigma, Ninjas in Pajamas, all vying for 3 spots. The biggest question fans had coming in was how well can OG gel? Well, they only dropped 1 game in the entire group stages, and it was against Team Liquid. Team Secret on the other hand had a perfect 4-0 record. Aggressive Mode and Ninjas in Pajamas were the other 2 teams making it into the playoffs along with Secret and OG. So that means Alliance, Team Liquid, Nigma Esports are all going to play in the minor qualifier. Team Secret and OG dominated their games and sent their competitors to fight for the final spot. NIP came prepared on the final day and defeated Aggressive Mode 2-0, who will be now joining the others for the coveted spot to the minor. There's no break between major and minor qualifiers. Here's the result from the minor qualifiers. In the C region, they had 3 slots for the major, that means there's only 1 spot in the minor. Boom Esports, TNC Predator, Reality Rift, and Team IO all vying for that single minor spot, and the favorite had to be the first major winners, TNC Predator. The story has an underdog. Boom Esports, the unlikely one of the 3, finished 3rd in the major qualifier group stages, and in the minor qualifiers, they knocked TNC Predator and Reality Rift into the lower bracket. TNC fails to defeat Reality Rift and they drop out the 3rd major and minor. The silver lining for the squad is that they have qualified for the international. Boom Esports got to face Reality Rift once again in the grand finals, and they sent them packing 3-1. They will be heading to Ukraine for the minor. In Europe, they also have 1 slot, and by the end of this minor qualifier, there may be roster changes coming. There's no favor in the minor qualifiers. Any one of the 4 teams had a shot. Alliance was the first to make it into the grand finals, while in the lower bracket, Nigma knocked out Aggressive Mode and they took on Team Liquid. The TI9 finalists came prepared and knocked Team Liquid out in 2 quick games, sub 30 minutes to meet Alliance in the grand finals. The finals between Alliance and Nigma gave fans everything. A 5-game series, end-to-end action. In the end, it became a game of inches. Nigma had mega creeps and they decided to push a 4 versus 5, and they didn't know Amir Mirko Albarkawi didn't have buyback. Alliance pushed with double Rapiers on Medusa and went straight for the tier 4 and the throne.
5 on the Medusa just a little bit earlier. Kuro?
He's just doing this to keep them away. Like, this is the Alliance's only play. They have to go down mid and try to pivot this Rapier. And instead, in they go. Control out to 33. Mind control might melt up here. He walks straight into limp, but that wasn't what he wanted. And now the chase is on the Miracle. He got out once. I'm not sure if he does it again. The cookie's there. Kinetic good to trap him in. No raid for 5 seconds, and they see everything. And they will be able to burst him down in time.
Aurora's gonna melt.
gone. Kuro is indeed melting, trying to move away quick enough, but they stay on top of him. I think he just ate the cheese as well, and he'll also die. Nigma, in a rush to try and keep the pressure on and stop Alliance, are now hemorrhaging heroes one by one.
Fans are calling it one of the worst calls in Pro Dota for not knowing Miracle had no buyback and lost their slot in the minor.
Repair kit to slow this down. 30 seconds might be long enough, but there's the glyph to buy some time. They force it out early, but Lifestealer will be available with this fight. And look at the front. They're losing it right now. The glyph. Snapfire will go back. You need to actually stay here, which means they know you're now at numbers defiance. This is the moment where they could try and deal with Nico, baby. Solo Crest to slow him down. BKB gets activated just to bring down another tower, and they stab the back line. Hanskin has to use a static storm, but he's free to do what he wants. Mind control will be melt through once, but he eats the cheese. Hex is going to come out. Movement for Mystic Flare. They stack on top of the Medusa, the keeper in the game. This is the way that they win, and they're looking like they're going to do it live. They do it! They take the game! The damage overwhelms Nigma and crushes the hopes of making it to this lad as Alliance, against the odds, against Mega Creeps, and with the double Rapier play, they take the series 3-2.
In the CIS region, they were lucky enough to have 2 slots and not fight to the death like over in Europe. Gambit Esports took the first slot, and everyone thought Hellraisers were destined for the second slot since they placed better than any other teams in the major qualifiers. But that's not the case. They were the first team eliminated, and Team 4Z, a mostly unknown team, takes the last spot, defeating Cyber Legacy 3-2 in the best of 5 finals. In South America, even though they had 2 slots in the major, that didn't mean they were getting 2 slots in the minor, and there will be no tiebreakers for the minor qualifiers. Furia Esports, Pain Gaming, and Infamous were part of the tiebreakers in their qualifiers, while Noping Esports sat out and prepared for the minor qualifiers. They had to take the long road. They went through the lower bracket and upset Furia Esports to head to their first major tournament of the season. Up north in North America, there were 2 spots, and Business Associates and Fighting Pandas were miles ahead of the other 2. Business Associates once again had Fighting Pandas' number, as they were the first team to advance to Kiev, and Fighting Pandas defeated Zoomies 3-0 to book their tickets to Ukraine.
Don't have buyback, and now there's a Meepo pushing away at tier 4s. You need to come home. You need to come home, Sammy boy. Mummy wants you, but unfortunately, only 3 heroes are going to be able to try and defend this Ancient. Braille is onto the Ancient already, and it looks like this is going to be it. The admin is called GG.
Is that actually the admin, or is it some weird bug?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but...
what is happening?
They've won. I mean, they're jumping down deep right now. Luke is going to die. Mumianda does drop, but with Sammy by dropping, and down goes the TA as well. And that is going to be actual GG. The end, last to whatever the hell this was. The NA Minor. Best of 5 lower bracket finals will go to the Fighting Pandas, who secured their spot in the minor. They're going to Ukraine, and Sammy with the wholesome messages to send them off.
As for China, we'll cover in another episode. They just wrapped up their open qualifiers and are beginning their closed qualifiers. The minor qualifiers will end on the 19th. Since the Chinese qualifiers are still taking place, there seems to be no end with the coronavirus spread. Royal Never Give Up will be replaced by Danielle Dendy Ishton and his BA team in the upcoming We Play Tug of War tournament. Hope you guys enjoy all the Dota, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good week.